Nō reira te kaupapa e whai ake nei, a whakamana empower session from two very empowering people. And both speakers from the Oranga research team will co-present the mahitahi, Dr. Valance Smith and Melanie Mark-Shadbolt. Tēnā kōrua. Māku kōrua e whakamārama ki te iwi, even though you're pretty famous these days. Dr. Valance Smith used to work with me at my FM back in the day. Oh, that's not wrong. He was in charge of payroll, so we liked him a lot. On Friday evenings, he was so committed to his job, he would continue his job on Ponsonby Road. The bus. Hoiano. No ngāpuhi, waikato, Ngāti Haina, Ngāti Pākehā. He's the assistant Pro-Valance Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor for Mauri Advancement and leads the TDT strategy at AUT. Valance provides cultural leadership to AUT, his whānau and abroad. He's also a really good singer and he's the co-lead of the Oranga research team. These are the bits that I inserted. Melanie Mark-Shadbolt will then discuss seed banking and what we just had a little bit of a mention of, te mana motuhake a ngā kākano, the sovereignty of seeds. Melanie Mark-Shadbolt is from Ngāti Kahungunu, ki Wairarapa, Ngāti Kuro, Te Arawa, Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāti Tūwharetoa, Te Atiawa, and you'll probably want to claim her as well. She's also from the clans Macintosh and Gunn. She's an Indigenous environmental sociologist and is the CEO of Te Tira Whakamāpaki, as well as having just returned to Bioheritage National Science Challenge as their Kaihautū Ngātahi. She's also a co-lead of the Oranga research team. Do you feel inspired or do you feel intimidated? You will soon hear from these fantastic speakers. Tēnā kōrua nō mai.
Tēnā koe Stacey, te nui o te aroha. Well, thank you for the passionate introduction for myself and Melanie. Hoi no mehena ki a koe o tira ki a tātou katoa. Matua hori. Nā anō I whakapuari tō tātou hui raro I te manaaketanga te runga rawa no reira kei te mehi, kei te mehi. Te atura ki a koe koro kia pōwhiritia te tini me te mano ki tō tātou ake whenua ki whāngarei. Kei pōhehe mihi ana Valance ki aia no hoi anō I tikana kia mihi a koe. O tira ki a tātou katoa e whakarau I tu mai nei. Tēnā koutou, ko wai, no hiarai nei. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ngā Rākau Tātura ki a koe tohe. Ko koe tēnā e takoha nei tēnei o ngā Mauri. E kia nei ko tōna ingoa ko Kauri. O ki mahara I te wā I konei matua he mi waiwai wanganu I a mātou e koro ana mo te Kauri. Me tēnei mea ko te Rākau, arā ko te Rākau. The divine energy, the divine source, the divine spark and instilling that energy into our ngahere. Ka tai noa ki tēnei o ngā Kauri, the divine spark, embedding and instilling itself into the energy o tēnei o ngā Mauri. Nō reira mihena ki a koe I tēnei tākoha nui, ki tēnei kaupapa nui whakahara o tātou o tira ki a tātou te maria. Oe no e mihi ana.
Dr. Valance
I get the privilege of introducing our theme very quickly before handing back to Valance. Oranga was one of the themes that started quite early on when Ngā Rākau Taketake was first formed. I think alongside surveillance, which will Waitangi and Dean and the team began on, but Oranga was established in large part with some constraints around it. It was meant to pick up some existing work which was taken by, and we were privileged to do so, but also to be designed by our whānau. And so we ran through quite an intensive process of consultation way back in 2018, I think it was, 2019, to determine where our investment would go. And for Oranga, these were the 5 areas that popped up. And more than anything, Valance and I just wanted to set the scene for our project to say that it is 5 interconnecting projects, of which you'll hear about 2 of. You have heard lots and lots about the first one, RA1, the Tohora and the Kauri, which our matua lead, and many of you have participated in alongside of your communities and your researchers. But it is a wider program, and I will hand back to Valance to talk about RA2. As Valance said, was very much connected to Matua Himi's whakaaro and aspirations for this research program.
Kia ora te whānau, I'm supposed to be pressing record, aren't I, Stacey?
Yes, okay.
But that's okay, our 10 minutes can start now, right? Kia ora. And I think it's really important that we start with Matua Hemi and circle back to Matua Hemi, because this is actually quite significant for this piece of research. A conversation happened in the Waipaua with Matua Hemi, Matua Kevin, and Tohe. And they discussed a whole myriad of different things, and one of them was the ranga frequencies, vibrations, and soundscapes. And what happened from their conversation, it went 2 ways. One went to us, and then one went around to the whānau Te Rarawa. And I was at a wānanga over in Ahipara, and I woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, or some crazy haora ririki o te ata. And I could hear someone talking about our research project. And I was going, who's that? And then it was Joe Mauri. And so we had a couple of tea, and from then on we just started to have a discussion, and what we found out was that the motivation and inspiration for the mahi that they're doing in Te Mauri o Te Kauri in Te Rūranga o Te Rarawa actually came from that very conversation between Matua Hemi, Matua Tohe, and Matua Kevin. So I want to mihi to Joe at this stage. And the reason why I want to mihi to Joe is because alongside Joe is our whānau at Pawarenga. So at this stage, at this juncture, I'm going to ask Mariah to come up and just stand next to me. She's going, what? Mariah is like the matriarch, or one of the many matriarchs at Pawarenga. And there's a good reason why I want, and actually need, Mariah up here with me. We're a part of a program called Whakamana. And I've always had issue with the term whakamana. It kind of implies that we're, giving mana to communities. I prefer the term whakanui, to celebrate the mahi that is currently happening within our communities. Understanding that this photo here is a celebration of the people of Pawarenga, and realising their aspirations and dreams for their community. Indeed, one of those key imperatives is te oranga tunutanga, the everlasting life of the Kauri, our ancestor, their ancestors specifically. You'll see there are multiple generations in this photo as well. And so, yes, it should be community-led, yes, it should be intergenerational, and our mahi within Ngā Rākau Taketake is to support that mahi. Definitely not to lead it, but to support the mahi. So I just want to acknowledge all the whānau in Pawarenga, and that's on table number 1 over there. That's going to be at the karaoke bar later on tonight. So a bit about RA2, Te Mauri o Te Kauri, which is the mahi that Te Ahu Tō Tūroa and Joe had journeyed on, and our mahi here, which is Kauri Oro, which is the soundscape of the Kauri. And so there's just some key messages I want to communicate, which is ko au ko te au warawara. And the au warawara is the significant dense biodiversity, a ngahere that sits around Pawarenga, indeed around the other communities within that part of the Hokianga. And not only should it be community-led, but also understanding that if we take the simple term of tangata whenua might be loosely understood as people of the land. actually know I am the land. And so therefore, Pauarenga, the people of Pauarenga are part of their whenua, are the whakapapa. And so there's a vested interest in ensuring the oranga tonutanga of all native biodiversity within their rohe. And also understanding that any solutions with any specific context or community actually should be from ngā kōrero tuku iho o tēnā whenua anahe. So something that might happen in Te Auwarawara might not necessarily work in Waipaua, might not necessarily work in other parts. And so we need to we have to kōrero and discover and explore what is the creativity, what is the potential, what is the innovation found within our pūrākau, within our waiata, taku and karakia. I really say our, but I really mean marae and the whānau. And I actually want to give marae, you don't know this marae, I want to give marae an opportunity to also say something as well. And you know, some of the kōrero that we had, we started actually when in the middle of the year, when ka moe te ngahere. And that was the perfect time for us to wānanga with the whānau and to uncover and reveal into the wānanga with kāhui kaumātua, specifically from Pauarenga and the wider community, of what are these kōrero tuku iho that might signal some direction and give us a bit of a guide of where to go. So it's not as simple as just putting up some fancy microphones all over the place. We actually need to be guided by the kōrero tuku iho from that specific community, which are found in the pūrākau, which are found in the waiata, in the taku, in the karakia. I'm always very humbled to be part of a team of which one of our members, who's a Kauri ranger, I whānau mai ia I roto I te Auwarawara. Ko te tangi tuatahi, ka rangona e ngā Kauri a koia. Ko te tangi tuatahi ka rangona e ia ko te Kauri. And I do remember the first time, I'll come back to this other slide, but the first time we went up to Te Auwarawara, and it was ka mū katoa te ngahere. It was a still afternoon. And then takapari hara mai, te karakia, mea rā wāke, ka hate pupu I hau. Ka utu a tāwhiri mātia, ka rongo a tāwhiri mātia te ngahere ki ngā kōrero o tāna tama. And then ka mutu te karakia, the karakia concluded, and then ka mū katoa, then it went still again. You know, tātea Mauri he tohu tēnā. So we need to respond to those tohu, and how therefore might it guide the mahi that we're collectively doing with the whānau from Pauarenga. And also we need to be also very in tune and connected to our natural environment while we are focused on te ngahere. Actually, we know that he honunga kaha ki wānganui te kauri me te tohora. And so therefore, what does that ki tai narrative tell us? What are the cycles and the dynamics within the taiao? Ka ara mai te rā, ka tō te rā. Ka pari te tai, ka timu te tai. Me ngā kaupeka katoa o te tau. So the sun will set, the sun will rise, the sun will set, the tide will come in, the tide will go out. What are the different parts of the year aligned to maramataka? What are those different signals or cultural signals that are telling us and informing us of what to do, and more importantly, when to do it? So yesterday, Matua talked about ihi rangaranga, the frequencies and vibrations, and the te ihi, te wehi, te wana, te mana me te tapu, e rangaranga tātou ia tātou, so it's that weaving together of everyone. And so going into the forests, before we harvest rongoa, we have to be pono, and we have to have the right intent. Ka rongo te ngahere I te teka, moyo, pai, marika. So it's all about that intent, and I just want to acknowledge tohe in terms of we all need to work together, and we all enter this conversation at different levels. But irrespective of te iti, te nui rānei, e hoi nei tahi tātou I te wakakotai. So kia kaha mai tātou. Te oro o te auwareware, the sound of, so now we're getting into the technology side. And so there's a debate, of course, between mātauranga Māori and Western science. I like to move away from Western science and actually have a look at technology itself. And I think the intersection of Mātauranga Māori and technology to inform and support Mātauranga Māori, I think that's the real special place there. So we have, and this is the part led by Mauri, she actually couldn't make it due to the flooding and so on. So mihi to her. So she's leading our soundscape part of the project, and she's got all these cool different microphones, binaural microphone which actually records sounds that actually people hear. Directional microphones, geophones, hydrophones, all these different microphones to capture the soundscape. So we want to capture the soundscape of an identified healthy Kauri into Ōwarawara. Layer that healthy soundscape with taku from the whānau from Pawarenga, Te Ōwarawara, recited by the whānau from Te Ōwarawara, and also layered with te tangi o te tohora. And so I want to acknowledge at this juncture Matua, Hori and JC for providing those sounds of the tohora, specific from the hokianga. Again, it needs to be from the rohi itself. And so once we've done that, then that's where technology and Mātauranga Māori can really, I suppose, reveal and new realisations coming forth, of which as producing soundscapes that we play back to identified unwell Kauri. They're written with Kauri order. So so we've got a team over there. There's the karaoke team over there. So I'll acknowledge the team. There's about 10 of us in the team, made up of Kauri Rangers, who are now called Sonic Rangers. We have a prototype of the Sonic station, and this is the Sonic station. And he's not in the room, so I'm not going to embarrass him. But this is Takapari, and he was the one that was elected the karakia. And so this is my mate from Northcote. And I told him all the specs of what to build for the Sonic station. And I said, it doesn't have to work. It just can't catch on fire. It doesn't even have to work. But he's a tech whiz, and so he ensured that everything is below a certain amperage, and so it's impossible for it to catch on fire. But as a safeguard, it's all cased within a steel casing, so if anything did happen, it'll all be contained. So on the top there, we've got 4 solar panels, and it goes into a whatever those things are called, and it's actually operated off a cell phone, right? A cell phone that has the tracks that have been layered by Takapari and Hirikia and the Sonic Rangers that they put on the cell phone, and at different times of the day, as told to us by Matua Dagtuake, is the best times to give back the sound healing to the Kauri. The alarm goes off, but it's not a ding ding ding, it's the layering of the soundscape throughout different parts of the day. And so that happens on a daily basis, and that's our kōrero. I want to hand it over to Mauri just to say a few words as well, because I'm speaking on like Te Ōwarawara and Pawarenga, but I really want our whānau to have voice here.
Ka te tiro ki aku mau ngā katahu, ri whakamuri ko te rea, he puna kai, he puna orai. Do I have to come in here, Stace?
Hei a koe.
Tēnā tātou. Ko te mihi tuatahi ki a koe, te pāpā nau anō I tuku ngā kupu wairua ki tō tātou nei atua. Mō ngā mea katoa mairunga, mairaro tai atu ki a tātou ki Wainganui. Ka huri atua hau ki a rātou ko wheturangi tia, Stace, nau anō I whakamana I te whānau, ko ngaro I te tamaiti nei. Ko mātou hoki o te hokianga I ngaro a mere teira, I na nahira. Rātou ki a rātou, haere, haere, haere. Ka hoki mai anō hau ki a tātou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. He uri mukapuna tēnei no te kāinga o te uri o tai o Pawarenga, me te tū whakaiti nei ki mui a koutou. Me te nanaki ai kōrero mai na nahira, e tū ana koe a pōpō. Hara mai au, hei manuiri, hei kai tautoko I te tangata nei ki muri au. He honore tēnei, nā runga i te mahi aroha nui ki te whakaora i tō tātou ngahere, ko te Kauri. Nei rā te mihi kia koutou ngā pāpā i tūirunga te taumata i nahi me te pā i te wairua aroha. Mō te reo, mō te kaupapa nei, mō ngā tikanga i tuku iho mai wa tātou nei tūpuna. Nā reira tātou, kia tātou, tēnā koutou katoa. I might reo rua pai tērā. I'm cracking up because I feel like I needed a panikoti to come up here. I feel very privileged. Ina nahi rā, o I karanga mai a Valance ki au, ki hara mai ki te tautoko. Yes, of course, hara mai mātou. Kei konei a hau hei kanohi mō te uri o tai o Pāwaringa. Tika ana hoki kia mihi atu hau ki ngā kāinga maha o raro I ngā rekereke o Warawara. Warawara is about just under 12,500 acres. O roto rā ko ngā Kauri. In the 60s and 70s, I'm going to say this word, it was raped violently. And one of my papa and my grandfather were part of that, but the realisation now of what they have done, ka pā mai te pauri. And whilst we have beautiful photos of the mill and when it was logged, ko ngaro haere ne, wa tātou nei Kauri. And I just wanted to acknowledge the marae. So Te Au Warawara sits beneath, we sit beneath Te Au Warawara. We are one of 10 marae, one of 10 kaitiaki marae that look after the whole of that area, alongside with Doc and Te Rarawa. Ko hau tētahi o ngā kaiako o mua o te kura āiwi o Pāwaringa. My background is in teaching. Myself and Joe Mauri were principals in different areas, and now we find ourselves in these beautiful spaces of how we can help. My kaupapa, my particular, is about hapu development and how we can get our people who are on the ground. So the photo that had me in it when he says, "Haere mai maraea," to come up and stand, that photo had 4 generations in it. And really, so I also homeschool my baby. His name is Mauri Portiki, and he's going to be one of those babies that get dragged to all the hui. But pai ana, my mother is 83 and my father is 83, and we have only 9 native speakers of te reo Māori at home. And within that, you can imagine how many taonga we have that know about the ngahere. My point probably is about remembering the people on the ground, remembering the people of the marae, remembering the people of the moana that have our kauri or that have our ngahere. E kore e kumea roi tēnei o ngā kauhau e aku mātua, aku pāpā, he kōtiro tēnei no Frank Herbert, rau ko harata Rudolph, I mārena ai, no te kāinga o Pāwaringa. Hoi anō e Valance, tēnā koe mo tēnei wā iti nei. And I think that's about it. I don't know if I was supposed to dance or karaoke iaia nei. Hoi anō, thank you for listening to my 2-minute kōrero. Kia ora.
What a good